What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all having a great start to your day. I know I am, because we are just a couple days away, folks, from the July 30th MLB trade deadline this Friday at the time of recording this, which means endless content and discussions leading up to that point regarding our beloved New York Mets and everything there is to know with the players they are either supposedly or reportedly showing interest in to this point. And in today's video, we are breaking down once again a player the Mets are connected to over the past 24 hours from the Chicago Cubs. And no, it's not Kris Bryant this time. It is in fact Javy Baez. So first, I'll be breaking down everything there's to know about Baez and his game, the current report that has transpired over the past 24 hours to connect the two, and the potential trade that could be had with the New York Mets and Baez, and so much more. So as always, guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video. Find all the details and all my thoughts on Baez and his current connection to the Mets. If you guys end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell. All those great things. Thank you so much for the continued support, guys. I really appreciate you all. But enough of me talking. Let's jump right into today's video. Here we have 28-year-old two-time NL All-Star shortstop for the Chicago Cubs, and yes, Javy Baez. El Mago, as people love to call him, was originally drafted with the 9th overall pick of the first round back in 2011 by the Cubs, bursted on the scene in 2014 and has not looked back, as he has found himself as one of the most infectious and entertaining players in baseball, a phenomenal glove in the field that has found himself as a 2020 Gold Glove Award winner, a strong bat with plenty of pop, currently with 22 bombs on the season, over 60 RBIs, and was a 2018 Silver Slugger. And during the Cubs' time in 2016, where they won it all, that being the World Series, he had a pivotal part, being the NLCS MVP. So now with the Cubs being clear sellers at this year's trade deadline, already selling off players, and Javy Baez being a rental with only his final year left at just over $11 million, no less, there's a strong chance to be had that Javy Baez's time with the Cubs is going to be done sooner than later. And like the Mets, along with other teams, there are plenty of reasons to be interested. Now time for a quick word from today's sponsor in Manscaped. As many of you guys know, Manscaped has been a sponsor on the channel for a little while now, and I'm very grateful for that. And given their continued support, it's about time that I express my complete satisfaction that comes from their latest trimmer, that being in the Lawnmower 4.0. So what are you waiting for, guys? Head over to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with my code WardyNYM20. Again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code WardyNYM20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, guys, so now the question is, how is Javy Baez and the New York Mets connected outside of straight assumption from the Mets obviously showing interest in at least one more significant position player that has versatility, has a strong bat leading up to the deadline, and is looking for a guy that is also a rental, and the Mets have been connected with all these guys from the Cubs for really the past half year. Well, Baez did state over the past 24 hours in a radio show, and again, I will have that all in the description down below, that in a scenario where he hits free agency with the assumption he's not traded, of course, he would like to sign with the New York Mets to play with Francisco Lindor, and that is his only exception to playing second base again like he did during his time with Team Puerto Rico, because Francisco Lindor would be a shortstop. He has a great friendship with Lindor. We know this. They have infectious personalities. They are so entertaining. So that is really what has sparked things over the past 24 hours. So now talking about from the Mets side of things, why does this make sense for them if they go down this route? A couple things. So I have to start with Kris Bryant. The Mets find themselves not landing Kris Bryant for one of two reasons, either being one, because Bryant's asking price from the Cubs is way too high and the Mets are not going to cough up, say, a top 3 prospect, or two, that other teams just get better offers than the Mets. They really overpay for Bryant, and the Mets feel it's not worthy given the fact that he's a rental. That's potentially an option as well. So those are things to consider. Zach Scott has also stated too that the Mets are weighing their options at shortstops, and they will be keeping tabs on options outside of the club with a guy like potentially Javy Baez or even a Trevor Story that we may discuss on the channel further, if not definitely in live streams, at least over the next 48 hours. Also have to mention that there's one thing that the Mets surely are looking for when it comes to adding a position player. It is a guy that can smash against lefties. The Mets have been horrendous against lefties all year long. I'm not sure why. It just is it a kryptonite for whatever reason. And Javy Baez has been a specialist against lefties this year, batting over 300, a 360 plus on base percentage, which is something he's not known for, of course, and a 960 plus OPS. He is exactly what the Mets are looking for, and that profile with a big bat. Yes, he's big swing and miss, but again, can dominate lefties, and that could be pivotal pivotal for the Mets down the stretch in playoff time, and the assumption they can land him. But unless the Mets want a rental, that's something that will be better than, of course, getting a guy that has years of control in his contract, because more control means it's going to cost you more. And if you get a guy like Baez, you're going to get a guy that can one, have versatility playing at shortstop until Francisco Lindor is back from injury, which is assumably right around a month from now. So it's still a decent stretch, and the Mets have a lot of big games coming up until that point. Then you can move Baez to second when Lindor's back, put Lindor back at short. Then you're going to have Jeff McNeil most likely at third base, and JD Davis, assuming he's not traded, can be platooning in left field with Dom Smith based on matchups, whether it's righties or lefties. So you can get creative there. Mets want to add depth, we know that. So again, in this scenario, I truly believe when the Mets pivot away from Kris Bryant for one reason or another, if it just doesn't make sense right now, given the asking price for him still being a rental, Baez should be cheaper. The position player market is in the buyer's favor versus the sellers. Unlike starting pitchers and relievers, that is really the stronghold of this trade deadline and its market. But you get a guy like Javy Baez, a great personality, infectious personality, a phenomenal glove. The Mets would easily have one of, if not the best middle infield in all of baseball defensively, and that's what you need to help win championships. We have prioritized defense for a while now. The Mets would like to upgrade for sure and just get guys with versatility. That's what you get with a guy like Baez at second base. Have Lindor at third. Boy, oh boy, would that be exciting. And yes, I know the downsides to a guy like Javy Baez, you have to look at, of course, his on base, his strikeout rate. He strikes out a boatload. It reminds me so much of Ahmad Rosario, honestly, during his time with the Mets at short, besides him not necessarily being nearly as good of a glover, not even remotely close. They're polar opposite defensively, but Rosario has been known for a big swing miss guy, does not get walked a lot, and has good speed on the bags. That is exactly what Javy Baez is. He just has a plus defense by far, one of the best infielders in the game of baseball in that category. But you get a guy that has a big bat, of course, 22 bombs on the year, with Ty Pete Alonso for the most home runs in the club. Currently, the Mets have been really depleted offensively for the majority of this year, thanks to injuries and also just a lack of home run power, which has not been common with this club in recent years. And then you're going to get that. You're going to get 60 plus RBIs with over 10 stolen bags on the season, 13, I believe, from what I showed here in the video, and so much more. And again, the Mets could find themselves not just landing Javy Baez, but potentially other players from the Cubs they've shown interest in more of a blockbuster, like we talked about with Bryant. So if it isn't Bryant and it's Baez, you're looking at other guys like, of course, Craig Kimbrell that we talked about in a previous video. Check it out. I'll have it in the description down below as always. And also Zach Davies, starting pitching option that we've talked about in previous blockbuster type videos, because the Mets have reportedly been showing interest in both of these guys as well. So if you do that, you kill three birds with one stone, where you get another starting pitcher to add depth to your rotation. Of course, even if it's nothing crazy, you just add depth. That's what the Mets need. Then you get a phenomenal reliever, one of the best in baseball, if not the best right now, Craig Kimbrell, and Javy Baez, who is also reportedly looking for right around $200 million in his next contract. That very well could be more of an affordable price for the Mets versus Kris Bryant in a scenario they trade for him and want to try and make an extension happen after this season. So Mets fans, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. As always, do you feel that Javy Baez could very well be a better fit per se than other options for the Mets, especially in a scenario where the Mets have to pivot away from Kris Bryant? Do you think that Kris Bryant is the best priority? I still think that he's the guy to beat, but of course this is in a scenario where that is just no longer an option, and so much more. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, guys. If you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, of course, please do not hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. And also stay tuned. Today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be live discussing all the Mets trade rumors and all the players they've been targeting. We'll be breaking them down one by one and really a further analysis on the matter, breaking down all the latest news and reports with them, and also doing a Q&A, possibly taking some callers for really upwards of 2 to 2.5 hours. So stay tuned for that if you watch this before that stream goes live. But again, thank you so much for the continued support, guys. Expect endless content, especially here at the deadline. We'll be doing countless live streams anytime the Mets trade for a player or land someone. Rest assured, we'll be here to cover it right away and share our initial reactions. And we'll be live all day on Friday for both the trade deadline and any players the Mets land. And we'll hopefully be live as well for that game that night, the blackout night, where Carlos Carrasco is reportedly set to make his final first start for the Mets, with the Mets in their black jerseys against Cincinnati Reds July 30th. So again, thank you so much for the continued support, guys. Really, really appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's go Mets, baby.